It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And it is Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Alstyne. And before I bring on the guest tonight, I want to talk about what's coming up in the days and weeks to come here on Car Con Carne. First of all, this Sunday morning / afternoon, it's kind of a double feature, which is appropriate because I'm talking to two people involved with two cool new movies. Early on Sunday, I'm talking to Steven Kostanski. He is the writer and director of the fantastic new movie Psycho Goreman that's happening on Sunday. I think I got a nod of approval from the people I'm about to interview. Also, later that afternoon, I'm going to be talking to Heidi Johanningmeyer. She is the lead actress of a brand new movie, a new psychological thriller called 100 Days to Live. That's happening on Sunday. Then on Monday, we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Alligator Records, the venerable Chicago blues label. Alligator Records, been around for half a century. The owner of Alligator, Bruce Iglauer, and Shamika Copeland will be joining me for a little roundtable chat about the blues and Alligator's legacy and history. And tomorrow night, it is the return of movie maven, movie buff, whatever you want to call him, Mike Vanderbilt of Rock Island Public House, who curates the drive-in series out there in Blue Island. Tonight, I am joined by a fantastic band from up north on 94. They are Devil's Teeth. They are from Milwaukee. And I'm joined by Chuck, Eric, John, and Caleb. And I guess just let's not bury the lead. You have an announcement to make. Let's get that out of the way so we can get deep into everything. Who wants to make the big announcement for Devil's Teeth tonight?
Well, we're excited. We got it's a spaghetti Western inspired soundtrack album called La Leggenda Di Chong Li, and it's coming out April 2nd. And then we have the pre-order going up this Friday.
There we go. It's a spaghetti Western garage rock operetta inspired by the character Chong Li, the bad guy from the martial arts movie, the classic martial arts movie, Bloodsport. I'm just going to say that again. It's a spaghetti Western garage rock operetta inspired by Chong Li from Bloodsport. If there are people who are watching or listening who don't find that appealing, we can never be friends. I mean, this is, I feel like I've waited my whole life to hear an album like this. And that is what you are putting out on April 2nd. Pre-order start Monday. I guess let's start there with La Leggenda Di Chong Li. Musically, I know where your heads are at. Thematically, why?
Well, musically, like you said, we had been, inspired by, or Eric had actually got me onto a compilation series called Ecstasy of Gold, which is a great, just taking a lot of obscure spaghetti Western soundtrack songs and themes. There would be one song, with vocals, but then they'll use the same theme later on in different aspects. So that was kind of one of the main inspiration points. In terms of Chong Li, that was just happened to be one of our, first or second song that we wrote as a band, together back in 2016 at this point. And it just happened to be, I had this, this riff that was kind of heavily inspired by Dick Dale's version of Ghost Riders in the Sky meets this other surf song that I know called Pintor by the Pharaohs, I think. And I kind of merged them together and made this thing. And I made this demo and I was listening to it in the car. And I just happened to have watched Bloodsport recently, for I don't know how many times I've seen that movie. I love it. But I was listening to it and I had this riff, going into it. And then we just started going, I had my son with me and we were going Chong Li, kind of like they do in the movie. Worked well with the song. That's kind of how, I brought it to the guys at practice. And that was the start of a Chong Li inspired song.
I feel like we're on the verge of a martial arts movie renaissance. And it may be Mortal Kombat that starts it, but I feel like we're long overdue for a resurgence in martial arts movies.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that Mortal Kombat trailer looks really awesome. the fact that Sub-Zero makes a dagger out of somebody else's blood was just brilliant on whoever came up with that idea.
So, all right, the first single is Ride of the Devil's Teeth. There's a really awesome slinky saxophone in this song, and the video is animated-ish, and that debuts on Thursday.
Yes.
Via New Noise.
Correct. Yeah.
And then again, you can pre-order. This is going to be on vinyl, which I feel like a release like this has to be on vinyl. Like this concept, your sound, the way your band sounds, this has to be pressed on a vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool too. Like, we were just checking out the test pressings that came in over the weekend, and we've got it split up where like the whole A side is pretty much this whole life of Chong Li is this other secondary like Western character, and then flip it to B side and he's dead. And it kind of talks about, John had this whole kind of backstory behind what we were doing, and ends with his son, who has kind of like conflicted feelings about his dad because he wasn't a really great dad, but was really kick ass at killing people. So.
There's a character arc. There's a story arc.
Yeah.
In this. And actually, and people haven't heard this yet. Again, they can pre-order it on Friday. They can have it and hold it on April 2nd. Son of Chong Li, having heard this already, it's my favorite song.
Oh, cool.
On the release. It's like the missing link between Enter the Dragon and the Black Keys. I love the way that song sounds.
That Enter the Dragon
Wow.
that's interesting that you say that, because that's always been in the back of my mind as a source of inspiration, that soundtrack. So
here's the interesting thing. Because we've all been at home a lot more over the past 12 months, I've been working from home. I found myself, and I've said this, I found myself listening to soundtrack music a lot more than vocal music during the day, just because it's easier to concentrate without words in the background. So I've been buying old soundtracks on vinyl, and I bought Enter the Dragon a couple weeks ago. It's got all the martial arts noises, like the vocalizations on the soundtrack. Yeah. It's about the most distracting thing I could have possibly put on as I've been working from home, is that soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird one because it really encapsulates like almost viewing the film through the way it's all sounding.
So the concept of La Leggenda Di Chong Li sounds like something that could have been hatched during quarantine, but I mean, John said it. This has been kind of bubbling up for a while.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny. I mean, we just have a great time kicking around ideas and stuff, practicing in the basement. And Chong Li 2 started out as kind of just one of our like psych jams that usually, I mean, even Ride of the Devil's Teeth for that matter, they kind of take months where we just jam on it. And eventually it falls in a place where we feel like we actually got a solid song. And so, yeah, by the time we realized that Chong 2 kind of fit in this whole progression, we thought, why not? You kind of got to write the third at that point. So just, it was fun restructuring chord progressions and kind of making this a whole larger thing, and then connecting it with some other songs too, like Psychopath. And we got it bookending with a very like exotica inspired track too that we really enjoyed the way that came together.
Shadows of Chong Li would be the exotic one. Yes?
Yep, that one. And She Speaks is kind of like a opening and reprise for the whole thing.
And Psychopath is more cinematic.
Yes. Yeah.
I love your sound. I mean, I know there are other people who kind of do similar things, but I listen to you guys, and you're incorporating all these things from the past and making them really cool and fresh and interesting. And this is rock and roll regurgitated into something new and kick ass. I love the way your music sounds.
Thanks, man. I mean, go ahead, Chuck. Because I was going to say, I attribute a lot of that to you too, like the way you influenced the band.
I was just going to say, rock and roll regurgitated is like a really accurate description to, like summarize our band, I think. I mean, yeah, I grew up in the Green Bay punk scene, and like in the mid 90s, we started getting a lot of garage rock bands in Green Bay, and like the mid 90s is considered like a heyday for garage rock, like a kind of like a mid era, like a second wave. And I'm not sure what wave, but yeah, like a defined wave of, garage rock. And I was exposed to a lot of that, like seeing Teen Generate and Guitar Wolf and the Ripoffs, and like, Rick Sims's bands and things like that. of the era. It really like defined the music that I always wanted to play. And I've been just trying to start this band for 20 years, I feel. And it finally happened.
I appreciate the Rick Sims reference.
Gotta give the Chicago nod,
Yeah, those don't happen often enough. But yeah, I think there was that kind of garage rock thing in the 90s where people suddenly discovered all the Nuggets compilations. But then there was that resurgence in the early aughts where everyone discovered those bands from the 90s. It just keeps this beast that keeps feeding on itself.
Yeah, the whole back from the grave series is really big for John and I too, as far as like drawing inspiration from that whole series.
So how long ago, Chuck, you mentioned that you've been waiting forever to kind of have a band like this. How long ago did you guys get together, and how did you all find each other?
We started this band in 2016. So I was living in Louisiana in 2014. I moved back to Wisconsin and kind of decided to hit the reset on life, and wound up doing a film project that was like a political film project where we organized a bunch of bands to record a protest song against former Governor Scott Walker. And like through friends of friends, I wound up meeting Eric that way. I was in Louisiana. I was working on political campaigns. That's still what I do for a living today. And I was just kind of at an off point in my career, just in terms of the flow of my career, and met Eric, and he was really heavy into video editing and animating like you see in our video. And we just, through piecing together this video compilation, both taking certain cuts at certain videos and like just, collaborating on the whole overall look, we started just discussing the idea of starting a band. And Eric was with some other band at that time. And when that fizzled, like Devil's Teeth just really kind of came together, and Eric and John knew each other via, film communities in Milwaukee, and introduced me to John, who I had met earlier in life and honestly hadn't remembered. Sorry, John. But and we just, built a really quick friendship, and just our first batch of songs came out really quick in 2016. And it was just pretty easy from there. We haven't done much as a band, but this is like probably one of the most prolific bands in terms of writing that I've ever been a part of. A lot of that is John.
And so you're productive over the past 12 months? Putting the pieces together.
Last 12 months? No.
Yeah.
No.
This is a bummer. We actually had some really cool songs going right before quarantine hit. I think we had about 13 new songs we were working on, and we'll have to see if we remember how to play some of them by the time we finally get back together. So, yeah.
But you did Drop Down Gator.
Yep. Yeah, we recorded that over quarantine, and that was just more so for us. I mean, it was really hard. We had just come off of playing the show of Man or Astroman, which is super rad, and then like the whole world just kind of stopped, and we were used to seeing each other once a week for practice. And I think the thing is actually, really cool about this band is we're all just really good friends, and so like more so, I guess, than like like bands that over time they seem to kind of you get your relationship things going on and stuff like that. And this one we're just really close, and so not being able to see each other for months was not fun. And we had dropped down. That was one of the newer songs. So Chuck had the great idea of like trying to film that from our separate locations. And then I ended up helping with the music end, and he ended up editing it for us, but like kind of combining it into like a music video single thing just to have fun, do something that was, for us, but for other people to enjoy over quarantine.
I love it. And Caleb's been relatively quiet. And if you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on YouTube, it does look like the mist is about to take him. Remember him well. Avenge him when he gets taken. He's got like an infuser or a diffuser. What do you have going on there?
I just have a diffuser going with some basil.
With some basil.
Yeah.
Ooh. So your man cave smells like pesto. John, his man cave is really cool. He's got all these badass movie posters hanging on the wall. John is obviously a horror fan, which is wonderful to know.
Absolutely.
Is that a Suspiria poster in the far background?
This way.
Yeah,
That
I see an
that's
SUSB.
actually, it's a music video. It's a show poster from my previous band, which was called the Suspirios.
There it is.
Yeah,
There it is. I was heading in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
but
oh, go ahead, John.
no, I was just going to say these are all like Family Dollar, like Universal horror posters or whatever.
Which look awesome.
Yeah,
But
they're great.
Okay, as a horror fan, recommend a movie since we're all stuck at home still. Recommend a movie that may not be as obvious for us to watch. And by us, I mean me, really.
Oh gosh, that's so like on the spot because I feel like there's so many like and I'm more of an old school guy too. I haven't really, grabbed, the last 15 years or so. It's been a little hit or miss lately, I guess, in terms of the horror genre. But geez.
I threw you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're gonna have you can circle back on that one because I want to think of a good one.
Well, in the meantime, we can watch Bloodsport so that we're well prepared for La Leggenda Di Chong Li when that comes out in April. We need to catch up on the nuances of that movie. Again, this is a spaghetti western garage rock operetta inspired by Chong Li from Bloodsport. I will not hear a better elevator pitch for the rest of the year.
That's what I was hoping for. Just that line alone would just hopefully sell the record, and that would be it.
I feel like we're speaking to our people because I feel like to most folks that's a really hard sell.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought maybe you'd be concerned that this would be too mass appeal.
Yeah.
Oh,
casting too wide of a net with this one.
Yeah.
Jim on the Facebook Live, as we're recording this live on Facebook, said, "Holy crap! Just checked you guys out on Bandcamp. You have a new fan." You're one of those bands. I got to tell you, Devil's Teeth. First listen, you get it or you don't, and if you get it, you're sold. It is that sound hooks you in instantly. I love it. So thank you for Jim taking the extra step and checking them out on Bandcamp.
Yeah,
thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
And I highly recommend you do the same. I highly recommend people listening or watching just need to trust me. I love La Leggenda Di Chong Li. I cannot wait to have it and hold it and treasure it. It sounds awesome. And again, the video, they could check out the animated video. It debuts on New Noise on Thursday, Ride of the Devil's Teeth. Again, that saxophone is so cool. And then the album, of course, out on April 2nd. You guys did it. I love this. I think this is something people are going to, this is the album they didn't know they needed. And it's coming out on April 2nd. Well,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to wrap up, but if you have more to say, please go for it.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, it was a lot of fun recording this. It was cool getting Caleb. We ended up recording his sax in like a really big room, which is neat, kind of lended to that sound, and it's running microphones down the hallway, everything to kind of capture it. We were going for like kind of that classic Roy Orbison big room sound. So
you did it.
Yeah.
Devil's Teeth, thank you for jumping on and sharing the announcement tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate the time.